Hello listeners, Jordan here. I just want to let you know that you can listen to Nighttime early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Include it with Prime.
You are listening to Keep Canada Weird, a weekly weird news roundup by the Nighttime Podcast.
Hello listeners and welcome to the weekly Keep Canada Weird discussion series. If you're new here, I'm Jordan Bonaparte, and in Keep Canada Weird, my pal Aaron Airport and I seek out and explore the more offbeat news stories that played out across Canada over the past week. In tonight's episode, which we recorded on April 16th of 2024, we're going to learn about a legendary case of buyer's remorse. We're going to hear about the pranksters that have been terrorizing Edmonton's sweetest guy. We'll discuss the latest stone to be tossed in Tim Horton's assault on Canadian culture. And we're going to question the digestive health of Guelph, Ontario's burglars. Let's get into this. Handsome Aaron Airport. Fancy meeting you here, my friend. How are you tonight?
I am very good. It's also fancy meeting you, even though neither of us are dressed fancy. We're dressed very typical.
Yeah. How about I say, good to meet you here.
What a pleasure it is to meet you here, even though you're there and I'm over here.
But the miracle of technology has united us.
And plus, we live in a simulation.
Yeah. What's new with you? Anything going on down there?
Just the usual stuff, Happy. I had last week I talked about my dentist appointment. Do you want me to tell you where I was yesterday?
Oh, I can't wait to hear.
I had an eye appointment yesterday.
Oh my goodness. Your dentist appointment, you had no news to report. Everything was fine. Was there anything exciting about your eye appointment?
Technically, I need bifocals. I'm at that age.
Okay. I would like to talk about it longer and kind of get your thoughts on how you feel about this news, this diagnosis, but we don't have time for that. We have a mission here on this show. Why don't you recount our mission? What are we doing here? What is the promise we give our listeners?
We promise to talk about our teeth, our oral health, our vision, our bifocals, sometimes my cat.
And we promise to seek out and explore the unique, offbeat, non-usual stories that played out across Canada over the last week. It's something between celebration of the weird side of Canada and advocacy for maintaining and strengthening what makes Canada weird, I guess is how I would describe our mission. We got a lot on our plate tonight. We're going to hear, I always tease the stories up front. We're going to hear a bit more about the hockey card Holy Grail. We're going to talk about some breaking news with Tim Hortons. We're going to hear the tale of the pizza prankster versus a man who may be the sweetest guy in Edmonton, or if not Canada. And we're going to talk about Guelph, Ontario, its burglars, and their bowel movements.
Yeah.
But first, let's check in with some listeners of the show. We've been getting a ton of voicemails lately. Maybe it was a mistake, but a few weeks back, I promised to send stickers and Keep Canada Weird merch to anyone who has their voice aired on this show. Listeners have been flooding to nighttimepodcast.com/contact in sending voice memos, and I have been running out of ink in my pens, addressing and stamping those envelopes. But it's getting exciting. I will tell you one little secret is I just got in the mail a stack of Keep Canada Weird temporary tattoos. So I'm excited to start getting a couple of those out. I think we could do something fun with those. But let's hear a voicemail. I got a couple that all connect to stories we covered last week. The first one, we're going to hear from Kitty. Kitty was giving some thoughts on Dennis, the lottery winner from small town Newfoundland we talked about last week. Here's what Kitty had to say.
Hi, Jordan and Aaron. It's Kitty, your international correspondent from the UK and Ireland. Just commenting on your story regarding Dennis, the lottery winner. We had a similar situation here in the UK regarding a man called Michael Carroll who won big on the lottery. Became a bit of an international celebrity, bought cars, homes, even went into a boxing match, celebrity boxing match. Suffice to say, things didn't go too well for Michael in the end. He's now officially termed on Wikipedia the Lotto Lout. I think he was caught firing steel balls from some kind of Mercedes or something of the sort. and he has now returned to his job as a refuge collector. Hope things go better for Dennis. Sounds like a really nice guy. And just to say, you're still my favourite podcast, and thank you both for great entertainment.
I always find it interesting, like just the slight variations in words they choose. A refuse collector is a garbage man. This man she's describing, I went down a bit of a rabbit hole reading about him. He was a garbage man who won the lotto and famously just like blew all the money as quickly and publicly as possible. And then at the end of it, he just goes back to work as a garbage man with his old job after blowing through his lottery jackpot winnings.
Yeah, it's one way to do it, and probably a fun way to do it too, to have literally, reckless abandon in terms of spending that money as fast as humanly possible.
Yeah, well, they say ignorance is bliss, and that's kind of like, who cares about tomorrow? He just
I
lived
could sit
it up.
here and toil over how I'm going to invest it, how much of a return I'm going to get on it, who I'm going to give it to, what charities am I going to give to, long-term planning and all of this nonsense. Or I could just blow it in 6 months and have the best 6 months of my entire life and then come crawling back to my old life.
Yeah, I don't know. Living with yourself afterwards would be tough. In this, I don't know how, but this is sort of a segue into our first story. We just talked about the idea of, blowing through that money with reckless abandon. That plays into our first update. We've talked in the past a lot about, and we've been tracking the story of the hockey card Holy Grail discovery. In short, a family in Regina, Saskatchewan was clearing out, I think it was like their father's basement, and they found a large box full of boxes of unopened cards, hockey cards, from Wayne Gretzky's rookie year. The cards went up for auction. We tracked that. It ended up selling for about $5 million Canadian. And we thought we saw the end of it. Far from it. The winning bidder of the more than 12 unopened boxes of hockey cards has buyer's remorse.
I think it's an amazing item. It's been called the Holy Grail of hockey card memorabilia.
That Holy Grail is an unopened box of 1979 O-Pee-Chee hockey cards, discovered recently by a Regina family while cleaning their home. It's believed to contain as many as 25 Wayne Gretzky rookie cards. Toronto real estate agent Jack Arshosky was the winning bidder in a recent online auction for the box. He agreed to pay more than 5 million Canadian dollars for it.
I actually needed like 4 Red Bulls to keep me focused and sharp, because every time a new bid was entered, it would reset at 30 minutes in the extended period of time. So it was very possible that I almost missed winning the bid on this, because it wrapped up like after 1 a.m. Toronto time.
That was nearly 2 months ago. The cards remain in the vault at the auction house's Texas facility. Arshosky said he's paid most of the money, but not all. And now he's not sure if he wants to keep the cards.
I realized that I wasn't so passionate about, the hockey cards, and that I realized that there are others out there that are much more passionate about this. And I started a journey, I guess, to find, I think, what would be a better home for these cards.
He sent messages to Wayne Gretzky, to Edmonton Oilers owner Daryl Katz, to poker pro Daniel Negreanu, to Canadian rapper Drake, and many others. He says none of them have responded.
I just want to give these cards to somebody who will really appreciate it, and they'll get the most happiness from it. And I don't want anything, I don't want anything additional for myself than what was the winning bid for these hockey cards.
A U.S. card expert says he's never seen anything like this.
Just a very unusual situation. I'm not sure what the resolution will be, but I think the buyer, doesn't sound like he wants it at this point. And I don't think, even though the auction house typically is very serious about collecting money, they don't want this type of situation ever for any amount of money.
Haney and Muller say the box and Gretzky rookie cards like this one could increase in value in the coming years, but they're unlikely to fetch a much higher price so soon after a major auction. They say the situation could be tricky for everyone involved.
Oh man, I did not see that coming. When I saw this story show up in the news again, I thought, what is going on now? I was expecting to see an article maybe summarizing like how many of the Gretzky rookies were found in there or something. No, it's when I watched that clip, that Jack Arofsky or whatever his name is like he comes across as a broken man. I think he won this thing and he's just been just sitting there in utter shock at what he's done. Or something like he just seems like it's buyer's remorse to the max is what I'm getting from him.
Like, why did you sit down and bid millions of dollars on hockey cards?
Yeah, like
if
5
you
million.
have no interest in hockey cards.
It's something else. I learned a bit about his story as he received a large inheritance. He's a real estate agent in Ontario who received a large inheritance from an uncle who was worth millions and millions of dollars. So this guy's got some money, but why he sees this, he probably just like we did. He sees in the news. He learns of this discovery of cards that's being put up for auction. As you heard in that clip we just listened to, he's up at night drinking Red Bull, bidding on it, and he wins. And now he's in the news, trying to get rid of it. And it's in one of the news clips that I saw him in, he even like holds up a piece of paper while being interviewed on CBC with his lawyer's email address, being like, if anyone's interested in taking these cards off me, here's the people to get in touch with. He says in that clip, he just wants the money back that he paid. So he wants to just get it cash out, basically. He's wrote to Gretzky, to Drake, some poker player, the owner of the Oilers. And I like how the news clip says like, he hasn't heard back from any of them. They're all like, we don't want your cards, you nut.
I feel like this devalues the cards.
I feel like this guy is just scrambling, trying to get out of this purchase. But I want to play you one other clip. This one hasn't made the rounds too much in the media, and I think it should have. When he was on CBC, again, he holds up a piece of paper with his lawyer's email address, or a lawyer's email address. This is who you can get in touch with if you want the cards. The reporter did ask him, if you're not into hockey cards, why did you bid on them? And what are you going to do if you can't sell them? If any part of this story is weird,
okay,
this is it. Listen to this.
How it is that someone who's works as a real estate agent and has never gotten into the high stakes world of sports collectibles decided to spend $5 million on a 79 O-Pee-Chee box.
The winning bid for this 1979 mega box hockey cards really originated from when I was like 7 years old, where I met a girl in my class. Her name was Elise, and I really think that I had a connection to her and that she was my true soulmate. And she was interested in hockey. So in the event that I don't get in touch with anybody, or no one gets in touch with me, I'd like to gift them to Elise, the young girl for way back from school, and that she could have them as a total gift. Because I throughout the years I actually believe that she was like my true soulmate. I still do, but
holy cow.
If you find a man out there and he's done something ridiculous, chances are it's to impress a woman. And this takes the cake. It seems to, like, I get his motivation now. Oddly enough, he seems to have like met what he believes to be his soulmate back when he was 7. He doesn't say whether or not he's been in touch with her at all over these years, but somehow this connection to Elise, or whatever her name was when he was 7, manifests itself as like, you're a 50-something, probably year old man with a bunch of inheritance. Let's buy a card because she liked hockey. And if they don't sell, we're going to find her and give them as a gift. I don't even know what to say, but if I was her, I would really have to think long and hard if I want to know, if I want this guy to know where I am to give me the $5 million in cards.
If I were her, I'd be really insulted by the way he's gone about this. So he goes on, he sees these unopened boxes of cards that could contain, dozens of Wayne Gretzky rookie cards. And he thinks, my soulmate, Elise, from when I was young, loved hockey, and this would be a really great way to reconnect with her because I truly believe she's my soulmate. And so this could have been a romantic gesture if he bid on the cards
For
and
her?
then gave them for her and then gave them to her instantly. But instead, what he does, like a complete schlub, is that he bids on the cards, wins it using his uncle's inheritance, instantly regrets it, and desperately tries to resell the cards to anybody.
Like
who
he's
will
writing
answer.
emails to Drake.
He's writing emails to anybody with a computer. Like, my name is Idiot. Do you want to buy my hockey cards? Signed, complete idiot. So, and she's probably seeing this all play out. And she's like, oh, that was that creepy guy from elementary school, kept calling me his soulmate and throwing macaroni and cheese at me every day at lunch. Like this guy. And when you look at the video footage of this guy, it looks like he hasn't slept in weeks.
It's true. He's a broken man. His eyes are bloodshot and watery.
I just drank so many Red Bulls and thought about the love of my life who never was and the one that got away when I was 7. And then I just went into a blind bidding blackout and and woke up covered in boxes of Wayne Gretzky rookie cards and my bank account is completely empty. Like, this is... So she's watching all this from afar being like, if he calls me and tries to give me those cards and thinks that I'm going to go out with him, he's got another thing coming.
Yeah. I just couldn't believe it when I saw that clip. I was like, because it was all so strange. And then you get to that and you're like, oh, it's one of those things. But
yeah, it's always to get laid.
Yeah.
That's the
wow. That is the long way
yeah.
to getting laid,
Yeah. He's been on the apps, like scrolling through Tinder and Bumble and all these apps and stuff. And he's just like, man, none of these apps are getting me laid. I've been to the grocery store. I've been hitting on women there. I go to bars. I hit on women there and nothing is getting me laid. You know what I should do? I should spend.
Then he sees on the news, like the auction for the cards.
I know. There's one specific person who I know that I'd love to be with, who loves hockey. And I'm going to spend millions of dollars on these cards. But then I'm going to show the world that I instantly regretted the decision. I'm going to try to resell them. And then I'm going to give it to her when she sees how completely and utterly desperate I am.
Mm-hmm. In his defense, I don't put much merit in this, but he did say that after he won the bid, he heard an interview with like kind of the head of the auction house or something who said the other bidders who lost were really disappointed that they didn't win. And he said, like, after hearing that, I realized, I'm not that passionate about hockey cards. Someone else should have these. Yeah.
Isn't the point to sell them though? Like, isn't that I know there are some people, like if you're extremely wealthy and you're a collector, then perhaps reselling the cards for a profit is not your motivation. Mm-hmm. But for a lot of people who want that box of cards that has all these Wayne Gretzky rookie cards in it, isn't profit the point?
You would think. I think there's very few collectors who are going to pay $5 million for a bunch of unopened packs. And, it's very much an investment. I think he's just trying to come out sounding good or something. But anyway, we got to move on. But I'm just shocked that this story showed up on our desks again, and I never would have expected this to be the context it would appear in. But we need to move on to some other stories. Well, let's hear from a listener, and then we'll move on to the next duo of stories. You recall last week we talked about a woman named Catherine in Victoria, BC, who happened upon an octopus and seemed to find something between love and the meaning of life in her relationship with this octopus she found on the beach. Well, we have a voicemail from a listener named Catherine, who's from Victoria as well, but different person, who has some thoughts on how we handled that story. Listen to this.
Hey guys, this is Catherine from Victoria. Not to be confused with the Catherine from Victoria, the octopus lady, for good reason too. I just wanted to kind of come to her defense a little bit and maybe say you guys were a little bit harsh about her. I don't know if it's like a West Coast thing or a Victoria thing or a Catherine thing, but I feel like I would act the exact same way if I came in contact with an octopus and it recognized me. Like, that's pretty incredible. Octopi are really elusive over here on the West Coast. Like, sure, there can be a lot everywhere, but they hide and they don't really come out that often. I've never seen one in the wild in my 30 odd years of life. I don't know if you guys see them a lot back east, but yeah, they're definitely not up and down the beach like you may have thought. And interacting with one is a pretty incredible, rare experience. So yeah, I don't know. I just feel like I would act the same way, and I just kind of wanted to come to a fellow Catherine's defense. Anyway, love you guys. Despite being so harsh to Catherine, you're entitled to your own opinion, but I just wanted to come to her defense a little bit and say I would have acted the same way, and I know a lot of other people would. And yeah, keep up the great work. Bye.
So I get what Catherine is saying, but I do believe that bias comes into play. When you hear people critical of someone with the same name as you, how can you not come to their defense? I've experienced it firsthand. Back in the 80s, when people were slamming on Jordan Knight from the New Kids on the Block, I was so offended all the time.
Yeah, you mentioned that before. That's really stuck with you your entire life.
Mm-hmm. Jordans stick together, and Catherine's do too.
Yeah, and I'd like to say to Catherine, not the octopus lady, but the caller, we love you too, and you're entitled to your opinion, and we have ours, and that's what makes Keep Canada Weird such a wonderful place for us all to interact with each other. But in terms of how we feel about Catherine the octopus lady, I think this is a classic case of putting human emotions onto animals. You have no idea what that octopus is thinking.
It was seeing if she was food. I'm sure of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I appreciate it, Catherine. And if you do encounter an octopus and it moves you, spiritually, let us know. And I should also say, she's like, I don't know if you see them often on the East Coast. I've never seen an octopus in the wild in my life.
Never.
That said, I hate beaches. I hate outside. I don't even like going out in the day. So,
yeah. You are the shadow man.
Let's move on. We have a duo of stories. I hope you're not hungry because this involves food. Let's start with an update to not a story we've covered, but to a story that we are tracking and have been since the beginning of the show. We've come to refer to it as the Tim Hortons issue. For people who are listening from abroad, Tim Hortons is a popular coffee/baked goods chain in Canada that Aaron and I are heavily critical of. We're critical of their connection to Canadian culture. They market themselves as like Canada's favorite coffee shop, which they may have been at one time, but after changing ownership several times, they've lost their way. And at this point, their baked goods are horrible. Their coffee is horrible and inconsistent. And the marketing of their products and the way they kick out new products one after another is just, it's dizzying at this point.
Mm-hmm. They have no idea who they are anymore. They want to be a fast food restaurant, but they're not.
No. The Tim Hortons issue is quite complicated, but they're about to launch their next attack on our taste buds. Tim Hortons announced that they are launching officially their often discussed flatbread pizza.
Tim Hortons is launching flatbread pizzas nationally in a bid to pick up more afternoon and evening customers. The chain says cheese, pepperoni, bacon everything, and chicken parmesan flatbread pizzas will appear on its menu starting Wednesday. The launch follows a 2-year flatbread pizza pilot that spans select Calgary, Greater Toronto, and Winnipeg restaurants. Tim's executives say the broader launch is meant to help get diners in the door beyond breakfast.
Man, play that again. That's the
You like that song?
I love that song. Do 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 do.
It sounds like an old
got
like
such a groove.
ringtone. It does have a nice groove.
It's like from a 90s movie, and you're showing up to your first day at a job that you lied in your interview to get. And then you're walking into the building and it's like very overwhelming. And it's like there's all this business people like roaming about everywhere. And you're just do.
Yeah, I see it. Tim Hortons is launching pizza. Should we care? Are we going to try it? Do Keep Canada Weird listeners need to get involved in this? What do you think of this?
I'm conflicted because I love pizza. It's my favorite meal. It's my favorite food. It's a typical favorite food, but I'll admit it's my favorite. But Robin's Donuts, which is a Canadian coffee shop that I often bring up on the show in comparison to Tim Hortons, because I much prefer Robin's Donuts coffee and their baked goods and all the things that they sell. And Robin's Donuts here in Canada, I don't know how many locations there are around the country, but they're quite prevalent on the East Coast of Canada. And they have been selling flatbread pizza for over a year now, I think, maybe even longer.
Tim Hortons makes a point to refer to it as flatbread pizza. And when you look at all the marketing photos, it's very clear that what they're not making pizza. They have probably a stack of frozen flatbread that they're going to heat up with a bit of pizza sauce and cheese over it. Maybe they'll throw pepperoni on it, maybe bacon. They said I don't know if it's like a type. They say bacon everything. I don't know what that is. I'm sure like anything Tim Hortons.
Thought maybe the flatbread itself was like the everything flavor, like an everything bagel.
Yeah,
that's how I interpreted it, but I could be wrong.
And it's and knowing the way Tim Hortons would do it, it would be the same flatbread, but they would just like sprinkle some kind of like everything seasoning over it. I think I've heard like decent reviews. People say they're not bad. I definitely am going to try one, maybe tomorrow, if not Thursday, and I will report back.
So are they fully rolled out now? Are they everywhere?
No, actually, I went to Tim Hortons and asked them about it.
I heard that you guys are selling pizzas starting tomorrow. Wow, exciting.
Starting from tomorrow, they're making pizzas. So we're recording this Tuesday the 16th. Wednesday the 17th is when Keep Canada Weird listeners across Canada, coast to coast, can get these. I will call out to anybody who does get one to send us a voice memo with their review, because I think we'll be talking about this next week. Pretty safe to say.
Well, why don't you and I make sure in between this week and next week, we'll try it if we can find it, and have our own things to say about the new flatbread pizza at Tim Hortons.
For sure. But there's no, like, if we can find it. It's like all locations are selling it as of tomorrow. It's not going to be like this special.
Maybe it's going to sell out, though. Maybe it's going to be lineups around the block for Tim Hortons' new flatbread pizza. And
I'll be so disappointed.
It'll be chaos. People will be smashing the windows. People will be hurting each other, stomping over each other to get it. It'll be like the Cabbage Patch Kids dolls in the 80s.
All over again. Well, we'll see. We got to move on to the next food-related story. We have this sort of duo of stories book in the center of the episode that involve pizza. But this one, we usually have one story that takes the cake every week. If it isn't the hockey cards, it's going to be this one. I call this story the pizza prankster versus the sweetest guy in Edmonton.
Many people love a hot, cheesy pizza delivered right to their door. But Justin Rybicki's love of the big pizza pie is being spoiled by a prankster.
Every time I see Pizza 73 commercials, it gives me nightmares.
In November, Rybicki was eating dinner at home when he heard a knock on the door. It was a Pizza 73 delivery driver with nearly $100 worth of pizza. The delivery was under his name and number.
So I checked my emails and it had an order that I never ordered. So then we told him that it wasn't me that ordered the pizzas.
Concerned that he may have been hacked in some way, he filed a police report, but the Pizza 73 deliveries did not stop. Several more in November and December, each one ranging from $70 to $150. Rybicki changed his number, but the pizza still came, even to his job here at Goodwill.
So that's when we called the head office of Pizza 73 and told them to anyone with the name Justin Rybicki, cancel the orders.
The prankster then switched to Domino's, ordering large pizzas and even lava crunch cakes. RCMP officer Troy Savinkoff says the prankster went to great lengths to hide their identity.
The suspects that are ordering the pizza are actually obviously using technology to spoof his number, which they know. So when they call it, it's coming up as him.
Savinkoff, who used to actually work as a pizza delivery driver, says these fake deliveries are more of a prank to the one delivering the pizza.
You're out, 15, 30 minutes worth of work delivering those pizzas. So, it would be certainly irritation, fortunately.
Rybicki says he has no idea who could be behind these deliveries. He doesn't think it's an angry ex.
I never dated anyone, so it's not that.
He estimates nearly $1,000 worth of pizza has went to waste. He says he's flagged his number at Domino's, so those deliveries should stop, unless they go to Pizza Hut next.
I hope karma gets you someday and delivers pizza to your house.
In the build-up of that, I really leaned on, like, maybe the sweetest guy in Edmonton. I love that guy.
No, he seems like a sweetheart for sure.
Who would mess with that guy? As I'm watching that clip, I'm like, I'm so pissed because it just seems...
On the surface, seems like a nice guy.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the thing. When we tackle these stories, we're only getting a very short surface level glimpse into the real situation. It's like an iceberg, in the water. It's like you're only really seeing the tip of the iceberg. Okay. Most of the iceberg is underneath the water.
Okay.
And I feel like it's that way with a lot of these stories where someone can come across as the sweetest, most wonderful person in Edmonton or anywhere in Canada. But maybe, just maybe, this guy deserves it.
I don't believe it. I think I think this guy has a heart of gold. I think he'd give anyone the shirt off his back if they needed it. I think there's just some evildoer out there that managed to get his information and are just screwing with him, and God knows why. My first thought is it's going to be an ex, but you heard him say right there in the clip, perhaps the biggest slap in the face in this whole thing is not only is he getting these pizzas show up at his door, but he's on television saying, I've never been on it. I've never dated anyone. Mm-hmm. They made him admit that.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's hard to say. It's hard to truly know someone from a short news clip. And to then cast a judgment in saying that this person doesn't deserve to have fake pizza orders sent to their house and their place of work. We don't know. We just don't know. We'd have to go boots on the ground on this one.
Which we will, if called upon. We will go out there.
Hey, if the funding comes in, we'll go and we'll go and spend 6 to 9 months with this man in his town, and we'll visit the pizza shops.
Well, we'll go undercover and get jobs at the pizza shops.
We'll talk to people who know them. We'll talk to everyone we need to, and we'll learn everything we have to about this story. And then we'll conclude, did this individual deserve to have fake pizzas and even lava cakes?
As if that is like the most over the top part. Like
I know.
The perpetrator moved to Domino's Pizza where they ordered more pizzas and even lava cakes. What?
Lava cakes. Will they have to call Pizza Hut next? We don't know. But I'm wondering, this guy has reached out to several local pizza shops, given his phone number and his name, and saying, anytime somebody calls to order pizza in my name with my number, it's fake. All right? It's fake. So what happens if he really wants pizza sometime? And now word is spread to all of the pizza shops in town that anybody who's ordering in his name on his behalf
it's fake.
is a fake. he's never going to be able to get pizza again in his life.
So just imagine this. Here's this tale of injustice. We hear in the news clip he's never dated before. Imagine he meets that special someone. He or she wants to come over and watch Netflix movies with him or something. They curl up on the couch, getting ready to spend a long night together of new experiences and probably a good movie.
Wow.
And she says, you know what? I love pizza. Let's order a pizza. We'll stay in, watch Netflix, and let's order a pizza. And he says, oh, shit. There's something about me you don't know. I'm not like the other guys you've dated. Yeah. I can't order pizza.
No, it's always fake.
And
even when I want it, it's fake.
And she gets up and storms off.
Yeah. Well, if he waited long enough, I'm sure some fake pizza would show up at the door anyway.
Oh,
he was like, oh, you want pizza? Just wait an hour.
You may have to spend the night.
9 of them will show up. Yeah.
You just stay over tonight.
Oh, you like pizza? What about lava cake?
Yeah. You know, and truthfully, I think if you traced this story back, I think it would lead to online video games. If this guy plays video games online, I feel like that's where the trouble starts. There's this culture of like just getting people through video games. I bet if he plays like Call of Duty or Fortnite and he has his headset on, he's like yelling at people. That's what did it. It's either going to be girls, and he says he's never dated, or online video games. One or the other, buddy. Which is it?
I agree with you. And maybe he's a jerk to these people online. Maybe he's an aggressive Call of Duty player and he just sucks the fun out of it for everybody.
Perfect segue, Aaron. You know who sucks the fun out of it for everybody? The burglars of Guelph, Ontario, and their horrible bowel movements. This is going to be a gross segment, but we got to talk about it. The reason we're talking about Guelph, Ontario, its burglars, and their bowel movements is the result of a Guelph police media release. Just a couple days back, on April 10th, they issued a press release letting the people of Guelph, Ontario, and Keep Canada Weird and beyond know about an arrest that followed a break-in. You want to read the release?
Will do. A Guelph woman has been arrested following a weekend break-in during which a large bowel movement was left behind in the victim's toilet. Just after 4 p.m. Saturday, police were called to a home in Edinburgh Road South. The owners had gone out approximately 3 hours earlier and came home to find several windows had been smashed. Property, including prescription medication, clothing, sunglasses, and heirloom jewelry and coins were reported missing. The suspect also left behind property including clothing, boots, and a credit card. Video surveillance captured the suspect leaving the home, pulling a suitcase full of property. On Tuesday, officers on foot patrol downtown located a female wearing some of the stolen clothing. A search revealed stolen property, including jewelry and coins. A 22-year-old Guelph woman is charged with break and enter and possessing stolen property. She will appear in court May 24th, but they're not charging her for not flushing.
The ultimate crime. But you know, I don't know for sure. We won't get to the bottom of this tonight. But I've looked at a couple different articles covering this because I wanted to learn all I could about, you know, how large, what happened. But I saw one article that seemed to be from a reputable paper, local paper in Guelph, that said that DNA evidence is being used to like in this arrest. And I don't know if they're implying that the bowel movement, they used DNA, like got DNA from it or something, or if it was just a mistake, because nowhere in the press release does it refer to DNA at all. But they do make a point to say left a large bowel movement behind. Why would they put that in the press release?
And that could be anybody's poop, really.
But if you find out whose it is and they have coins and heirloom jewelry on them, slap the cuffs on them.
I mean, that maybe they want to do a DNA test because they don't trust the husband, where maybe the husband has a history in the house of not flushing the toilet after he uses the bathroom. So the couple goes out. 3 hours later, they come back. Windows are broken. Items are missing. And then they find, she goes into the bathroom. She's like, oh my God, we've been broken into, and my jewelry is missing. And oh my God, you didn't flush the toilet again. He's like, no, that was the burglar that did that. The burglar also, pooped in the toilet and didn't flush. So that was not me.
We can't blame the next one on the husband. At least I hope not. The reason I'm talking, like this one press release from the Guelph police on April 10th of 2024, it's interesting to hear of a burglar and this large bowel movement being left behind. But this isn't the first time something like that, like this has happened in Guelph. I have another press release from the same police force. This is from September 14th of 2020. This is 4 years ago. I'll read you this one. And the circumstances are pretty similar. Guelph police are searching for a person who entered a home in Guelph's East End and committed a disturbing act in the kitchen. Sometime between 1 a.m. and 8:15 a.m. on Sunday, nothing was taken. However, the culprit defecated on an open dishwasher's door before leaving the residence. Guelph police ask anyone with information on this case to contact Constable blah 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 at this phone number. And police police remind people to properly secure their residence by always locking your doors and windows. So this is a different, and closing your dishwasher. This is a different story. Why would somebody, and like, I know you're a smart guy and you're a creative guy. Can you give me any reason why someone would sneak into someone's house and defecate on the open dishwasher door?
Yeah, I have a theory.
Okay.
Sometimes nature calls in an extreme circumstance.
Okay.
So, you're out somewhere, and normally, when things are moving properly in your body, you have plenty of time, plenty of signals that your body lets you know that you have to go to the bathroom, and then you have lots of time to plan when and where you're going to go. But in some circumstances, it comes on so quickly that you don't have a choice, and you have to do it now, and you have to figure out the best place to do it in about 5 to 10 seconds.
Okay.
So imagine somebody's walking down the street, and this type of a quick response, bodily movement in an extreme circumstance has to take place, and they don't know where to go. So they're walking down this street. Maybe they don't know the neighbors. Maybe they're kind of frazzled by the whole thing, and they're looking around of where they can go. And they're like, you know what? It's late at night. People are asleep. I bet I can sneak into somebody's house, get into their bathroom, use it, and get out, and then they'll never know I was there. But then as they enter in, the place is dark, and they don't know where they're going in the house. It's an unfamiliar house. They stumble their way into the kitchen, and they decide, you know what? I don't have time to find the bathroom. It's too dark, and this is coming out now. All that's in front of me is a dishwasher. I'm sure they would prefer to use the dishwasher as opposed to the oven or anything like that, because the dishwasher could clean itself. You could shut it, and you could run it through an extreme cycle and then
bleach
be done
and
with
stuff,
it. So
maybe.
yeah. So it'd be easier to clean than an oven or the floor. So they decide, I'm going to release myself into the dishwasher and then get out of here.
So the whole thing, I guess, is a misunderstanding, really. If they had been able to come downstairs and wake up and encounter this person, they would get the explanation, like, I just really need to use the bathroom, and it's right there on your left. Problem solved. And I can also defend them somewhat for leaving their dishwasher open, because this is something that's really important to me. I like my dishwasher, after I've run it, I take all the dishes out and I like it to completely dry out. And if you shut the door of the dishwasher after you've used it, there's enough moisture in there that it can get a little funky. So if you leave it propped open overnight, it dries out and your dishwasher is always fresh. So I
that's
feel like
nice.
this is a responsible couple or a responsible family who was drying their dishwasher out after use. Somebody tried to get in the house to use the bathroom and do the right thing. They made the last minute decision. Do I do it on the floor, in the oven, in the dishwasher?
Or the kitchen sink. But you got to make that decision so fast because it's coming. I mean, everybody's been in that situation where it's coming whether you like it or not, and it doesn't care where you are. So you have to decide in a split second, where am I going to put this thing?
Okay. We've talked enough about it though. Whenever we get into the topic of feces, I find it upsetting.
Yeah. I really like it.
I know you do. When I saw these stories, I was like, oh, this is going to be great for Aaron.
Aaron's going to love this episode.
But I think if anyone has, I looked for updates on this story. I could not find an arrest being made or any development on it. If there's anyone listening from Guelph that knows more about this, let us know. I'm curious. I would like to know what led someone to do this, but there's another mystery that I want solved, and I'm about to solve it. 2 weeks ago, we received a voicemail from a listener named Aaron. Aaron wanted some stickers, some Keep Canada Weird stickers. So she needed, in order to get them, she needed to get her voice on the show. So she sent a voicemail just saying, I want stickers. But since I'm here talking to you, I have a little mystery for you. Tell me if you know why my friend and I have an inside joke that involves me saying, your Peter is in the urinal. You remember this, of course.
Yeah.
You and I had our theories on what that could possibly mean. Last week, and we told her, we'll send you your stickers, but we need the solution to the riddle. She finally got back to us 2 weeks late, after we called her out last week saying we are not sending her any stickers or anything special until you let us know what it means. Here, Aaron has finally got back to us. Let's solve this mystery.
Hey, Jordan. Hey, Aaron. It's Aaron from Alabama. Just calling back with the real story behind your Peter is in the urinal. I understand that you're holding my stickers hostage. So I do feel like I earned at least one sticker with my last call. But since we're being petty, this call, I think I'm earning my second sticker and a t-shirt. That'd be a size medium, but I'll be happy with a size large. I'll be looking forward to that package since you already have my mailing address. Okay, so the real story behind your Peter is in the urinal. I'm a healthcare worker. I was working in a rehab facility. I'm a physical therapist assistant. I had a patient, elderly patient, with some delirium. He was pretty confused. It's kind of normal, or can happen after somebody's been hospitalized and they're a little elderly, maybe have some Alzheimer's, dementia. And he had to pee before I could take him to his therapy session. So I took him in his room, pulled the curtain so that nobody could see him, and got him, my friend and I got him situated so that he could pee. And he kept telling me, my Peter needs to be in the urinal. And then he looked right at me. Now, I feel like I look like a female. I think it's pretty obvious. Not sure. It could be debatable. But this guy looked at me and he said, "You're a man, ain't you?" And I said, "Well, yes, sir." Feel like I needed to be in his world with him. And he said, "Then you understand, my Peter needs to be in the urinal." And I said, "Sir, your Peter is in the urinal." He didn't hear what I said, so I had to get a little bit louder each time I said it. Well, the last time I said it, I shouted, "Your Peter is in the urinal." And right after I said it, I turned and looked, and another family, so a family of a different patient, was walking right by his room. And so I just smiled and waved. So I guess those people probably know the story behind your Peter is in the urinal as well. Thanks, guys, for keeping Canada weird and keeping America slightly weirder. Bye.
Um, our first guess, unless I'm mistaken, was the Peter referred to a penis. We got that part right. And I thought it was I didn't think there was this complicated double meaning and double entendre. Turns out there wasn't, but I never would have guessed it involved a hearing impaired elderly man, possibly with dementia or Alzheimer's, and her needing to shout at him. I must say though, after hearing about her job, I'm so I have so much respect for people who can do that kind of work. Could you imagine?
Oh yeah, I know that's definitely takes a certain type of individual who's stronger than me and in
It
every
has a
way.
stronger stomach. Like when you
Yeah.
think of like an old folks home, it's funny that this comes up because like my grandmother, who's like over 90, she's about to be moved from like an assisted living type arrangement to a straight up nursing home as of this coming Monday, like days from now. So someone like Aaron is going to be helping my grandmother use the bathroom and all those sorts of things. When the average person without the experience thinks of like a nursing home and stuff, you think of them like, bringing food and changing bed sheets and all this stuff. But no, they got to do like everything for them. They bath them,
Everything.
they help them
Yeah.
go to the washroom. I don't even want to list the various things they deal with. And it's, to do that kind of work for somebody who's, elderly, but, and, I have respect for them. Aaron, you will get your stickers, and I will send you something special. I don't know if I have any size medium shirts. Does that mean small, medium, like right in the middle?
Yeah, yeah, I think it's
I guess
it's somewhere in between.
okay, because I used to wear a medium. Now I wear a large, a marge.
Yeah, I'm a large guy.
Yeah,
My
mediums.
regular shirts are like my button-up shirts are always medium, but my t-shirts are always large.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
so I need a size marge. Aaron, it's on its way. But other Aaron, handsome Aaron, airport. I think we've covered all the bases here. Do you think we've been through enough?
Yeah, I think we kept the country weird and we grew as individuals and we talked about poop.
Hmm.
And we talked about potential bifocals as well.
Hmm. What do you think is the story of the night? I'm going to tell you mine. I believe is the Ryan, the victim of the pizza prankster. I think that one moment where he is forced to admit he's never dated on the news. I think that's like my moment of the week for Weird Canada. For Canada being weird last week. That's mine. What is yours?
Yeah, mine's the hockey card fiasco, the
Yeah.
regretful purchases of boxes of
Oh
unopened Wayne Gretzky rookie cards for
for
his
the
potential or past soulmate
from when he was 7. It's like, buddy,
from when he was
come
7
on.
to eventually end up with that's a tale for the ages
That is
that
epic.
soon will be a film. I think that'll definitely be a film of
Yeah.
some kind.
I just think what's so interesting about that is just the way we've been tracking that story without meaning to. It just there's always something that comes up. Yeah, it's been, we've probably talked about that hockey card auction, on 8 episodes in a row. It's probably come up pretty close to it.
Mhm.
And then for it to get to this point, and it's probably going to come up again because I think this guy, my impression is he's going to do what he has to do to get out of buying those. We'll see. But maybe, I've read a lot online about this news coming out of his potential buyer's remorse. Maybe he's just going to bite the bullet and just be out the money now to avoid the embarrassment. We'll see.
We'll see. And if his soulmate is out there listening, we want to hear from you.
Oh my God, I would love to talk to her.
Mhm.
Well, let's wrap this up. Anyone out there who has any thoughts, theories, opinions on anything we've covered tonight, go to nighttimepodcast.com/contact. Let us know in a voice memo. If your voice is aired on the show, after you hear it, email me at nighttimepodcast@gmail.com. Give me your mailing address, and I will send you something nice as a thank you. Handsome Aaron Airport, until next time,
Jordan, until next time.
let's make a vow to seek out and explore weird Canadian news stories every week for the rest of our lives and broadcast our work live on YouTube Tuesday nights at 8:15 p.m. Eastern Time.
And Jordan, until next time, with or without bifocals, I see you. I see you.
I want to thank you for helping Aaron and I fulfill our mission to keep Canada weird, but let us also call out to you for even greater support in this. If something weird happens in your neck of the woods, we want to know about it. If you have any thoughts, opinions, or theories on any of the stories we discussed tonight, we want to hear about that as well. The best way to contact us is by going to nighttimepodcast.com/contact and using the built-in app to send us a voice memo. We're excited to hear from you. Now, before we part, let me end with some thanks. First, a big thanks to Aaron for sharing another evening with me and with you, the listeners of Nighttime. A big shout out to the internet's favorite cult leader, Unicole, who provides the show's intro and outro voiceovers. And lastly, but most importantly, a massive thank you goes out to each and every one of you listening to Nighttime, as without your interest and your support, this show would be as pointless as it would be impossible. Now, on the topic of support, let me thank the newest subscribers to the premium feed. Kate, Eugene, and Kim, thank you for your generous support. For anyone else who'd like to help out the show, you can do it in a variety of ways. First of all, a premium feed subscription is just a couple dollars a month, and that money will fund the creation of new episodes, but the premium feed will also give you the episodes 2 days early, get them to you ad-free, and give you access to a full back catalog of episodes. You can go premium right now at patreon.com/nighttimepodcast. And even if you don't want to go premium, you can still support the show by telling all your like-minded friends why they should listen. Spreading the word is very much appreciated. Now, until next time, take care of each other, hug your loved ones tight, and let me know if you see anything weird.
Keep Canada Weird is written, hosted, and produced by the Nighttime Podcast.
And now to our viewers and listeners everywhere. Good night.
Hey there, Jordan and handsome Aaron Airport. It is me, Lawrence, from Vancouver, the Owl Guy. I seem to be a regular call-in, but I just had to call in after your recent episode of Keeping Canada Weird, and I wanted to talk about Catherine and her new husband, the octopus. There is a show on Netflix called My Octopus Teacher, and it is so good. It has 93% Rotten Tomato likings. It is filmed in South Africa, and it is about a diver who, when he's diving, meets a female small octopus, and he follows the life of her for 1 year. And it is fantastic. It's so well done. It will give you a newfound respect for how an octopus and a human can be in contact and essentially become friends. It's so well done. I highly recommend it. I think for you, Jordan, your kids will like it too. And I'm sure there's people listening that have seen it. It's so well done. So if you can, try to give up Catherine the kook and her husband, the octopus, and go for this. It will give you just a newfound respect for octopus. Have a great week. Keep Canada weird.